All right, let's break this one down with Tyler Sullivan, Rick Spielman here to dive in. Fellas, as we take a look at what's transpired here for Washington over this 4-week stretch, 0-3-1. Big picture, small picture, these 60 minutes, anywhere else. Rick, where did it go wrong for Washington, who their chances now hang in the balance? They're a Green Bay win away from being eliminated.
Well, where it went wrong is when they went back to Carson Wentz, because you watch how he played today. I mean, those 3 picks, the ball's floating down the field, and he was supposed to provide him a spark. But I had a question, and I talked to Pete Prisco about this earlier today, is if Carson Wentz was scheduled to make a spark or help this offense get going, and he was going to be better than Taylor Heineke, why didn't they do that a few weeks ago when they were a little bit on a losing streak, and they didn't? Their defense, though, didn't hold up their end of the bargain either. And I think they've been on a downward spiral ever since the last 3 or 4 weeks and haven't found a way to get out of that. Their issue is now they better get ready for the offseason, because Wentz for sure is not the answer. Heineke is not the answer. So what are they going to do at the quarterback position? Because they have some skilled guys, but if you look at the stats, their skilled guys, I think Samuel and Dotson and McLaurin had 4 or 5 catches combined, and then they were throwing the ball to Logan Thomas, who's basically a blocking tight end. So they need to do a lot of soul searching, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and especially what they're going to do at the quarterback position going forward.
Yeah, like Rick said, I mean, it is all about the quarterback position and how they're going to fix that in the offseason. The move to Carson Wentz here, to me, it reeked of grasping at straws, let alone a spark that could help this team potentially make a postseason run that seems to be dwindling as we go down these next few weeks. It's going to be a real look into the mirror type of a moment here for Washington. Obviously, Wentz is not the guy. Heineke's not the guy, like Rick was saying. Are you going to go into the draft and try to restart it that way? Or are you going to be one of these teams that starts looking at the veteran quarterback market? Is Derek Carr a difference maker to this team? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo a difference maker for this team? Those are the questions that they're going to have to ask themselves, because even in this game today, it could have been a lot worse for Washington. Those 3 interceptions from Carson Wentz, only one of them came up with points on the other end for the opposition, and that was only a field goal there. So, I mean, this could have been an entire disaster when you start looking at how that could have compiled against Washington here. It's clear Wentz isn't the answer. They clearly don't want to turn things over to Heineke, or don't believe that he can turn things around as they kind of go back and forth with him. For me, this is all about the quarterback, and it will be about the quarterback until they get that rectified.
Guys, it is week 17. We're trying to make sense of what's at stake in each and every one of these games for each and every one of these teams. For the Browns, I'm sure they'd like to see some offensive cohesion, and maybe they saw that in the second half. But speaking to what's at stake here, Tyler Sullivan, the head coaching job. I mean, we've made a big deal about some of these positions that might come open this offseason. How big was this 60 minutes for Kevin Stefanski's security?
It's monumental. And I mean, it's really about the offense and how things starting to look with Deshaun Watson at the helm. This is basically a glorified preseason for Cleveland once they've been eliminated from the postseason. And now it's about who is going to be a part of this team and part of this culture going into 2023 and beyond as they evaluate things with Watson. Things are looking a little bit more promising with him under center. Obviously, like we were saying in the second half there, multiple touchdowns today, 3 of them, the chemistry there with Amari Cooper, obviously a key factor there. They're going to be a combination worth looking at going into 2023. But for me, it's all about the quarterback and how they are able to perform under Kevin Stefanski's offense. If things started to continue to look shaky, then you have to really have some hard conversations. But the fact that you're starting to see some glimpses, that certainly helps going forward.
Yeah, I would say that Kevin Stefanski is going to be fine, because Deshaun Watson hadn't played in almost over 2 years, and you're starting to see him, as Tyler said, starting to get glimpses of what he could be and what he can bring to the Cleveland Browns offense. So what you got to do is you got to be a little bit of patience, but next year that's going to be it's going to be a situation where either they do it or they don't do it, or else they're going to make a change at head coach.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.